Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jennifer Clair Astrology. I'm Jennifer Clair, and on this channel, you will hear topics on spirituality and astrology to help you evolve. Today is the 11th video in my series called Discover Your Life Purpose Through Astrology. So, in this video, you will learn what it means to have your North Node in the 11th house and the 11th sign, Aquarius. Let's begin. Before we go through the description for the house and sign, I want to make sure you understand what the life purpose point is and how to recognize it in your chart. Whenever we talk about the lunar nodes in astrology, we are referring to two mathematical points that are calculated where the moon crosses the ecliptic. The north node represents our dharma or life purpose, and the south node represents our karma or where we are moving away from. As you can see here, the symbol for the north node looks like a horseshoe, and the symbol for the south node looks like that same horseshoe turned upside down. Now that you have a visual and definition for the north node life purpose point, we can proceed. On this next slide, we have the Wheel of Houses, and this shows us what area of life the 11th house represents. Here we see the words groups, friends, networks, and hopes and dreams. So this is where we interact with, influence, and receive support from others. People will be an important part of your life if you have the North Node in the 11th house. But just as importantly is how you show up for them and what role you play amongst them. You are here to develop a tribe, or at least be willing to participate in group organizations. And this is important because your ideas need to be heard. And having friends is important because they will support you in achieving your hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams become possible for you to achieve when you learn to think futuristically. It is here in the 11th house that you develop a vision for the future that will be sustainable not only for yourself, but for everyone. The 11th house requires you to think strategically and objectively. This is because you are relying less on your emotions and your personal biases and more on the best decision for the entire group, the collective. And this is wonderful because in this house of groups and networks, you get to consider everyone's feelings about a subject and not just your own. At the same time, however, you do have to start off by honoring your own ideas and being brave enough to implement them because they could be the very change that society needs. This leads us to an important point. There is a paradox to having your North Node in the 11th house, just as there is with having it in Aquarius. And that is, you need to be out in society in order to share your ideas, but you also need enough alone time to recharge your batteries and think up these great ideas in the first place. So, knowing how to balance your time and energy around others is essential. Often, the 11th house is associated with technology and the internet. And I believe this is because using these platforms is our modern way to communicate with others and reach the masses with our ideas. That said, if you have your North Node in the 11th house, you want to be thinking about how you can reach people in the best possible way. Now let's move on and talk about having the North Node in Aquarius. There are a few words that will help orient you to the energy of Aquarius. These words are individuation, futuristic, and sovereignty. Aquarius is here to individuate itself so that it can offer fresh information to others. To individuate, it must first have space to process and space to think. The sole evolutionary goal of someone with their North Node in Aquarius is to individuate themselves from others and honor their uniqueness. It is to celebrate their differences and stop seeking approval of others. If you are brave enough to individuate yourself, that's great news for everyone because it gets them to start thinking, maybe it's okay for me to be different too. Or, gosh, I'm so glad this person said this because that's exactly what I've been believing all along. So, by Aquarius acting quote unquote eccentric or weird, what's really happening is that a seed is being planted in society that will one day grow into the new norm. Aquarius has often been called the genius, the rebel, and the exile. Thus, acceptance from others does not always come easy. It takes a lot of courage to walk the lonely path that Aquarius must walk at times. But the inner feeling of knowing thyself and staying true to oneself makes it worthwhile in the end. Aquarius is futuristic because it is always thinking about the future. Its natural inclination is to prepare for what's to come and to recognize the best way to get there. This aspect of Aquarius, always thinking about the future, is part of the reason that it has gotten the reputation of being aloof and emotionally detached. It's not that Aquarius doesn't care, it's that it's wired to think futuristically, because if it did not, we would not be making any forward progress. So, if you have your North Node in Aquarius, it's very important to learn how to think critically and objectively about the future. When we think about having our own personal evolution, Aquarius is the sign to ignite that. Aquarius is not afraid to go up against the current beliefs and create a revolution, which ultimately becomes collective evolution. The word sovereignty comes in here because it means to be self governed or to have authority over something. If you have your North Node in Aquarius, you are becoming more self governed, more willing to trust in your thoughts and let them be your guide. In this lifetime, you are learning to recognize your own natural talents and follow your own mind. You're here to develop courage, to be brave enough to stand out from the crowd. You are learning that acceptance from others doesn't matter near as much as authenticity of self. You are here to honor your uniqueness, your weirdness, your quirks, and help others feel okay to be themselves too. In summary, you do well in fields where you can come up with your own ideas and promote them. Examples include a scientist, an astrologer, a computer software engineer, a teacher, writer, speaker, or any position that utilizes your gift of being able to envision the future and bring it to the present. You are here to develop the ideas that are objective, nonpartisan, futuristic, and idealistic. You are becoming a humanitarian, not because you agree with everyone, but because you spread knowledge that benefits everyone. If you think your path seems daunting or hard, I want you to remember this quote my friend told me. The harder your path, the higher your purpose. You wouldn't have been given a purpose that you couldn't achieve. So go be the water bearer you came to be. Do not be troubled by smaller minds. Spread the truth as you see it through your eyes. And seek not to fix, but to inspire and uplift. I hope you've enjoyed this video on the North Node in the 11th house and the 11th sign of Aquarius. If you have, feel free to leave a thumbs up or subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.